What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to talk about star defensive tackle Grady Jarrett, and will this be Grady Jarrett's last season as an Atlanta Falcon? But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content or NFL content. If you would like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. And if you'd like to be a part of my Jew Talk Sports membership, you can hit that join tab here on the channel as well. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So as I mentioned in today's video, I do want to talk about defensive tackle Grady Jarrett. And will this be Grady Jarrett's last season as an Atlanta Falcon? So Grady Jarrett did sign a 3-year extension a year ago, and he signed through 2026, where he'll become an unrestricted free agent. So he has one more year under contract, which is 2025. But I've been seeing a lot of rumors out there and rumblings that this could possibly be Grady Jarrett's last season as an Atlanta Falcon. And he could be one of those players that is cut in the offseason. Personally, I would keep Grady Jarrett around. I would allow him to play out this contract, even though he's making about $15 million a year. I definitely think that Grady Jarrett is one of those guys that has been worth the money. He did have a season-ending injury last season, which ended his season. But this year he has come back and played really well. He has 2.5 sacks on the season, 6 tackles for loss, and about 30-some tackles, 39 tackles, I believe it is, in total on the season. And Grady Jarrett is one of those guys that's a cornerstone player on this Atlanta Falcons defense. He's been our best defensive lineman, I'll say, over the last 5 to 6 years. And I really feel like Grady Jarrett is one of those guys that still has an impact on the field. But I believe that the Falcons have to do a better job at their scheme on defense to help Grady Jarrett be more successful on the field. And I feel like the Atlanta Falcons have did Grady Jarrett a disservice as far as putting other talented players around him on that defensive line. Grady Jarrett is only 31 years old. He'll be 32 years old next year. But I really feel like he's a player that still has a lot left in the tank. He is one of those guys that's an effort type player. I believe he was a 5th-round draft pick, but he is one of the cornerstone players on the defensive side of the ball. He's been one of the best players on our defense since he's been in the league, to be quite honest. He had a really big game in the Super Bowl in 2016 where he had, I believe, 2.5 sacks or 3 sacks against Tom Brady and the Patriots. But he's been one of those guys throughout his career that not only is one of those guys that is great in the locker room as one of the locker room leaders of this Atlanta Falcons team, but he's been like the heartbeat, the heart and soul of the Atlanta Falcons team just in general, and one of the faces of the organization in general, not only for what he do on the field, but also his contributions off the field. With him being from the Georgia area, being a Georgia native, I really feel like that has played a huge part in why the Atlanta Falcons have kept Grady Jarrett around, outside of him being one of the better defensive tackles in the league and one of the better defensive linemen, interior defensive linemen in the league. But Grady Jarrett is one of those guys that's versatile. He can do a lot of different things, whether he's playing on the inside or your defensive line, or if you can move him at times. They flexed him outside and let him play the defensive end position as well. But to me, I really haven't seen a huge drop off in his play, and that's the reason why I would keep him around if I were the Atlanta Falcons. Grady Jarrett puts me in the mind of players like Fletcher Cox, former player of the Eagles, where he's a guy that doesn't get 10 sacks a season, but he's had, I believe his best season was like 7.5 sacks. So he's a guy that can get you anywhere around 8 sacks in a season. But he's always going to give you those hustle plays. He's always going to be a guy that's disruptive in the run game. Always a guy that's going to be in the backfield, pushing the pocket and things of that nature. And to me, that's something that you can't find is or teach, is that effort that Grady Jarrett plays with. One of those guys that's a leader, makes everyone around him better. But I definitely think that the Atlanta Falcons should allow him to play out this contract, even though he hasn't had the eye-popping numbers this season so far. And even with him having that season-ending injury last year, to me, Grady Jarrett has played well enough personally that I think he should be brought back for one more season to complete this 3-year contract that he signed a year ago. So with that being said, you guys give me your thoughts on Grady Jarrett. Do you feel like Grady Jarrett has lost a step? Do you think that the Falcons will move on from him, or do you think they'll allow him to finish out this contract? Personally, if I were the Falcons, I would keep him around and continue to build around him and allow him to mentor the guys that we currently have on this roster. Guys like Ruka Rororo, guys like Brandon Dorless, and these younger guys that we have on this team. I think that they could learn a lot from Grady Jarrett, not just on the field, but definitely off the field, and how to be a pro, how to be a professional. So with that being said, I have a lot more content coming for you guys. But as always, Falcons Nation, rise up, be blessed. Peace.